What's made your homestand so successful?
Because we didn't look at it as a homestand. We looked at it as one game at a time. And today's Boston, Boston, Boston. That's it. So people ask me about my goalies the next game and Montreal Canadiens and this and people behind us. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't care. We've done well when we focused on today and ourselves and the specific opponent that we're playing against, and that's been our success since day one. So we don't want to change that.
With that in mind, can the success you had against Columbus, and I know you've got a completely different opponent here tonight, can that success carry over into tonight?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not a big believer of carrying over, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, if you've lost 5 in a row or 4 in a row, your confidence goes down. But I think if you're anywhere in the middle, normalcy, or even when you're doing really well, you got to watch out. It's every day's a new day, and you got to start back at zero. You know, the big mistake you make is, hey, we're on a roll and we got momentum, and I'm sorry, from period to period, there's no momentum. You start back at zero. From game to game to game, there is no momentum. You start back at zero, and you got to build it all the way up again. And so today's a day against a great team that's doing well. And we got to build it back from scratch. I mean, the last game is done. Guys had a day off yesterday, so it's got to redo everything and get back to the level that we were at the last game, and maybe even better.
What does your pre-scout tell you about Boston?
Well, when you look at the lineup, you can see that they've got a complete lineup. I would say, for me, they got size on defense. They sag real well in their D zone in front of the net, so there's not much open there. So there's not much space in front of their goaltender. They've got guys that have played in Olympic and World Cup team, Bergeron and Marchand, so they're game breakers, and they're reliable at the same time. And you look at their second line with Krejci, those guys have won the Stanley Cup. They've been good for years. They were good. They're still good. They're going to continue to be good. So for me, there's a lot of consistency throughout the lineup. There's not a lot of big holes in there. So it'll be a very difficult game, just like it is when we play Washington or those teams.
There's obviously 19 games left in here, but players talk about, this is potential first round playoff preview and all that stuff. Do you get caught up in any of that? Do you see the Bruins, look at this as a test of what maybe you've become?
No. Every day I hear the word test. It's a test when we play a bottom-end team so that we're strong enough mentally. It's a test when it's a top-end team. It's a test in the middle of the lineup because they're in our division. So every day is a test. So for me, the tests ahead, they're so far ahead that I think we have enough of a test today. I mean, it's whether we encounter them or anybody else in the playoffs. That's outstanding because that means we're in the playoffs. So I think right now for us, it's just get in, and that's about today. Oh, sorry. You guys fight for the, yeah. What about Phaneuf? Oh, he's sick, so he might not play tonight.
Alex Burrows played the fewest minutes. It was 11:30 of a forward, but that's huge for you compared to 1 minute, 2 minute guys. So what difference does it having those two?
It's huge because both of them, they can play on the penalty kill. Right now, I'm not using Burrows there just because we've got, Wingos that can play on a penalty kill, and we've got Stallberg that's a really good penalty killer, and I'm spreading those roles now, and that's what gives us the luxury of, in the third period, having the juice to be able to sustain what we do or overtake the opponent or so on, which was tougher for us, either because of injuries or because the chemistry wasn't there in that fourth line for a long, long time. And so those guys being able to do all these roles makes a gigantic difference in the energy level of everybody. And as a matter of fact, I can see some of the top guys are sitting on the bench going, I'm used to more ice time than this, and that's great because at this time of the year it's about energy. And what's happening now is that a guy like Burrows, because we didn't get a lot of power plays, which I want him on, didn't have to kill or we didn't have to extend him. I mean, he's new now. He's trying to figure out how things are working out. So you get that today, but then you might have, we might have 5 power plays tonight and he gets 5 more minutes. So what I like now is that we seem to have a lot more tools in the toolbox.
You get a sense that Burrows really changed up in the power play and make it
No, what he's been doing, it's not our look. The look hasn't been an issue. It's the quality of our shots, the quality of our screens, and the number of times that we create secondary chances is very poor. And that's been our issue 5-on-5 since day one, which we're getting much better at. But until we have it on 5-on-5, you're not going to see it on the power play either. So that's what we're fighting right now. We're battling that, and that's why it was tough last year on power plays too, in the previous year, because it's about inside the dots. And if you look at Toronto, they're number one power play. Well, they were before yesterday. And everything is inside those dots. The players get in there and they fight and they battle, and we have to have that. Our quality shots have missed the net a lot, and that kills the power play. So we got to hit the net more. We got to get secondary chances, and in that respect, Burrows will help because he's really good around the net, and he does go to the front, and he screens for real, and he pays the price. So once we get our shots on that net, that's going to help absolutely.
Otherwise, second chances is a mental thing as much as anything. So can you expect?
No, it's two things for the secondary chances. It's not just a mental thing. It's hit the net instead of picking corners. Because when you pick corners, you miss the net 3/4 of the time. And the other thing is it's the courage to pay the price inside, and that's down the outside and the perimeter. That's what it's about. So if you look at the good power plays, they all go inside and pay the price. And that's where we're at right now. That's where we're fighting. That's what we need to do better.